So welcome back to Live Now the Lowdown with me, Gina Broadhurst. And this week I have an amazing guest. I have been slightly stalking this lovely lady for a while, trying to entice her to come and talk to me. And finally, the eagle has landed. It's a very, very big welcome to Star Monroe.
Well, thank you so much. It's good to be here, Gina.
So, Star, for those of you that don't know, and I can't believe there are many because I'm sure many, many midlife ladies like me eagerly anticipate the podcast, the book, the Instagram feed, and all the other things that Star does. Star is a really, really powerful voice in my life, helping me to navigate midlife, helping me to unravel what's going on up here a little bit, slow down, take a really big deep breath and work out what's important and what's just noise and separate the two. That's how I benefit massively from Star. And I'm sure Star will tell us a little bit more about who she is and what she does. Those that don't know, you must follow Ms. on Instagram. First couple of minutes of my day when I get a notification. So I'm going to hand over to you, Star. Thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, you're just going to hand it over to me.
I am going to hand it over to you to just give us a little bit of flavour of who you are and what's your special sauce.
Yes, of course. Okay, so I wouldn't say I'm midlife anymore. I'm in my mid 50s. So I don't, and that's the thing. It's like my work evolves at the pace that I do, and I evolve quickly, even though at times I feel like it's really slow. I've just gone through another massive evolution this year, which has been very challenging, and also it's the path I'm on. I'm here to evolve. I'm not here to be a certain version of me, even if I wanted to. So I'm mid 50s, and I first came online, well, probably 15 years ago, and then I took a break, and then I came back, and I came back in the midlife arena, and I grew a following, I grew a business, a really amazing business. And my energy at the time was quite ferocious. Well, not quite, very ferocious, very bold, very flamboyant. I was very out there. I was dressing up. I was looking at some of my photos back from it, and I'm not that woman anymore, but that woman has made me who I am today. And the energy behind me. I'm here to disrupt, and even in where I am now, I still am here to disrupt, but probably in a more refined way. I'm less shouty, I'm less aggressive. And I was really using my anger. And if I go back, I think it was at 2022 or 2021, I spent the whole year researching our patriarchal system and the way that all the beauty and the fashion and the diet and the fitness industry doesn't have our best interests at heart. And probably I need to sidetrack from that, is that I spent the majority of my life at war with myself. The earliest memory I can remember was when I was 11, and I looked in the mirror and I was just like, oh, is this me? And I used to read the Vogue Beauty Bible, and it said when we stood with our legs together, you should have 3 gaps in between your legs. And when you lay down, you should be able to put a ruler from hip bone to hip bone and slide a hand underneath it. And that was my barometer of being acceptable and good looking. And so that spiraled. There were many other reasons. There was like my wounded inner child and lots and lots of other reasons, but it spiraled into a lifetime of behind the scenes of self-destruction, self-abandonment, self-loathing, which I entered into alcoholism and eating disorders, addiction to cocaine. I spent all my money, had to go bankrupt, abusive, toxic relationships with men, but more importantly with myself. And so I've been on this reclamation journey of myself for many, many years. And I remember probably mid-20s. I was sitting on a therapist's couch and she's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I want to return home, but I don't know where home is. And now I'm in my mid-50s. I would say I'm firmly at home in who I am.
Mm.
And and if you have followed me online, you will see the difference in me. There is a refinement. I would say there's an elegance to me. There is a softness to me that I have always been seeking, but this you cannot, it's not like a to-do list. It's not like I want to be soft. I don't want to say feminine because that's not my work. It's wholeness. I come from a place of wholeness. It's like I want to be kind of more elegant, more refined. And it's not something that we can try on like a dress in Dior. It's something that comes through time of, and what Gina said is relinquishing what's no longer ours, of the healing process. And I'm continuing on the healing process as well. And so if I'm watching my red thread here as I'm talking, as I was talking about, I built up a very solid relationship and online presence in the midlife field. And at the time I talked a lot about midlife reinvention, and you must disrupt yourself from the noise, from patriarchy, from capitalism, decentering men. You've got to understand your masks, the good girl, the people pleaser, the fixer, the perfectionist. You've got to understand that yes, we have these traits in us, but they are not us. They are parts of us, and we have to create a different relationship with these parts. We can't kick them to the curb. We can't stop being a perfectionist. We can't stop being a good girl. We have to create different relationships with these parts of us so we can come to this wholeness. And so these parts can no longer run the show. So for a long time in dating and relationships, my wounded inner child would lead, and she would be the one that any man would look at her. She'd be like, oh my God, we're getting attention. This is so amazing. I love you. And off she went. And so it took me a very long time, 54 years, to realize, to understand, to embody the knowledge that I have been seeking all along, that it is safe to be me, that I am enough as me, that I don't need to shout, that I don't need to push my way through life, that I can trust my body, I can trust life, I can trust my seasons. And so if I hook into the thread that I opened up, like this year, at the beginning of the year, my business has just grown and grown and grown online. My presence has got bigger and bigger and bigger. And in all of that last year, I lost myself in that. So it's really easy to lose ourselves, and I got lost in the likes, in the adoration online. I got lost in the busyness. I got lost in the money. And as I came into this year, there was a calling from within me. You can call it your higher self, God, goddess, your soul. And it was like, oh, I need to ask my adult son to come and live here with me in Turkey, because he was struggling and we'd had a very strained relationship. I was an addict when he was younger. And we kind of connected a couple of times last year. And so what I did is I reached out and said, would you like to come and live here with me? And he was like, yes. And I realized around January, February this year, I was like running this sort of multi six-figure dollar business. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I've lost myself. I feel like I'm just parading and performing online like I used to do when I was a showgirl in my 30s. I'm having to dress up all the time. I'm having to look amazing all the time. And I'm like, I don't even know if what I'm talking about is me anymore, because the fast pace that I got hooked into had kind of disconnected me from my body, my wisdom, my rhythm. And so it was a very scary decision, but it also felt very kind of like, no, I have to do this. And so I closed my company down and I took respite. I took some time to spend on me, to shift the relationship with my son, because that was very challenging as well. Because now I have
Mm.
my son here in front of me, all of my old parenting skills when he was younger, they're all in my face, and I can't do that because that didn't work. And so there was this big acclimatization, and it was very uncomfortable. And in all of that, I was like, I took the first extended period of rest that I've ever taken ever since I started my first company, which was back in when I was 18. So it was a long time ago. And so this was it was very uncomfortable, yet much needed. And what it did, it gave me the space. Space is one of my medicines. So if I explain my languaging, we have our own medicines and we have our own poisons. And the way that I guide women now is because I'm not here to, well, everyone knows this. No one's going to save us. No one's going to rescue us. Our wounded parts are still going to seek that. But my job now is to guide women back to what they already know. We know what's good for us. What we're not so good at is actioning it and making it into a lifestyle, making it, so embodying it. So medicines are the things that when you do them, again, all these parts, they may have a say in it, but they nourish you. Oh, that's a good word. They nourish you. They hold you. You feel like you can breathe. And so some things like some of my medicines, and I first discovered this back in 2014 when I did some work with a shaman. One of my medicines is space. I need space. And that's why I moved to Turkey. I moved to Turkey to have this space. But what I did is I created a life, but it there was an evolution wanting to happen, but I wasn't ready to meet it. And so I took a different path. So space, stillness, solitude, sleep, all the S's, and movement as well. So like these are things that when I do them, I feel good. Like waking up at 6 a.m. in the morning is really good. Like I don't want to do it. Like when it's 6, I'm like, I don't want to do it. I want to lay in bed and roll over for another 2 hours. And yet when I do it, I just feel after the first couple of hours, I feel so much better. I feel so much more grounded in who I am. My day pans out. My brain, that incessant chatter that goes on in our brains, it's just like calms down. And so I'm here to guide women back to their medicines, because one of the mantras that I wrote on my fridge, well, I wrote on a paper, put it on my fridge earlier this year when I really didn't know what I was doing because I closed my company. I was like, what next? Oh my God, I don't know. And I wrote this down and I said it every day. There are no rules and there is no set path. And this is how I truly believe. I am not here to mold women into a cookie cutter version of me. I'm here to guide them back to who you are meant to be, who you truly are meant to be. And so if I thread back into, I went into that reinvention place, midlife reinvention, and I believe like there's a part and there's a place for that. I'm no longer in it. I'm no longer in the reinvention. I'm in the place of coming home to who we truly are. And yet everything I've done, everything I've tried on, like clothes and like outfits and seasons, it's enabled me to take what works and discard what doesn't. And
Yeah.
what I truly believe is women know, you have a voice, a feeling, a sensation inside you, and it's calling you home. It's calling you home. Now, whether or not you listen is another thing. And there is no shade here, because years ago, I spent years abandoning myself through addictions, through alcoholism, and even more recently in 2022, when I was living in Turkey, had a great life, was running retreats. I just was, everything was amazing.
Just on that point, do you think, and I'm very happy to be told no, absolutely not, but do you think in a way that the last chapter, the Turkey, and then when you got hooked in with all the lights and all the money and the adoration, just before you did the big reset, do you think in a way that was like an addiction in its own, or like an addiction forming. You were kind of so absorbed in what you had created that it was your fuel.
So, so I am, I don't meet many people like me. I have OCD. I've probably got
Hmm.
ADD, but I don't really sit behind labels. What I do though is, and what my job is to know myself inside and out. And so any traits of mine that probably society or people will moan and complain about or make excuses, or I've got ADD, I've got OCD, I'll take it and I'll go, well, what does that give me? How
Hmm.
can I enhance my life? And so I am obsessive. I am like, I will look at it. I've just built another business, and my assistant goes, You're 10 steps ahead of me all the time." I said, "I know, because I'm got this finite eye for looking at things." And where I know where I got lost, because I started to get anchored into the money, anchored in. So external markers of success are, let's use them like a slim, or a body that, society says is very acceptable. Youth. Oh, that's another one. Like I just like, and that's the other reason why I stepped out the midlife arena, because I'm just like, I don't care that you're 50. I don't care that you're 45. Stop harping on about it. If you're okay with being it, then shut the fuck up about it and show us how to live it, rather than parading around. And that's where I feel that as society, it loses its appeal to me, because I'm like, I don't want anything to do with this. And so other markers of success, money, things that you buy like cars, clothes, and that's where I got wrapped up into. And for me, money, it's not money, it's the meaning that I gave money behind it. And so for someone who lived on the breadline and had no money and has trauma around money, money gave me security, gave me stability, gave me more choices. I've had no money and I've got money, and I would choose having money over not having money. And yet I was direct, even I'm not out of control. I'm really sensible. And yet I I lost myself in the wanting of more. And so in the wanting of more, nothing was enough. So that's where I got lost. So nothing was enough. And so, like I said, I had a multi six-figure dollar business. And, but there were two things going on. One, it wasn't enough. Two, I had to keep working at a clip to keep this going. And three, it was like, I don't know whether my soul is in this. And I'm here to be soulful, to live in alignment, to be authentic. And so that there was three things there. I don't particularly want to say I don't think it was an addiction. I think it was another lesson. It was another experience, another experiment. And I'm really glad I've done it, because now I know I can do it. Like, I can do this, I can do it again, and I can choose to do it in a different way now.
Yeah. I've My life has been very checkered, shall we say. I've had phases, and then I've gone off on a completely different path, and a completely different path, whether that be in my career, my relationships, my geographical location. I am a definite person who goes through something and then decides, you know what, I'm going over there now, and off I go. And it's shaped my life in a very exciting way. My husband drives him absolutely mad. It doesn't matter what we're talking about. I'll say, I told you this story. And there'll be a story of somebody I met or somewhere I went or something I did, whatever we're talking about. And he's like, how old are you? How long have you been on Earth? How do you have all these stories? And I'm like, well, I just have experienced a lot of stuff. Just I've gone through phases. So I hear you on you're in a different, you've evolved into a stage and you continuously evolving.
Yeah, it's like I'm maturing. I'm
Yeah,
54. I'm not young, and
no,
I'm not. I'm not here to be young. I'm getting ready for my sixth decade. I'm getting ready to be 60, and I'm not interested in staying young. I'm not. I'm done. Yeah, youth is
yeah,
done. It's like,
I
and it's I have a very mature outlook, and it's like I'm always thinking about I'm not in the future, I'm presently living, but I'm thinking about what decisions am I making now that I can really set myself up for my sixth decade. So that's with my wealth, my health, where I'm living, my mindset, my attitude. And again, I think, well, I know that's why I came out the midlife world, because it didn't resonate. It doesn't resonate with me. No one's got anything to say that I haven't heard before. And it's a lot of it is surface level as well. It's like we can change our hair, we can change our clothes, we can change the countries we live in, we can change our partners, but until you change who you are inside, until you create this deeper relationship with who you are, you're going to be forever running from this version of you, from who you are. And that is exhausting. That's going to drain your energy and age you much faster.
mm. I did that as a younger woman. So I'm the product of a divorced household, and I was 9 when my dad left, and uh, that impacted me greatly at that time, and all through my teenage years. All through my teenage years, it was something I used as an explanation for perhaps not always behaving as well as I might. Because in my head, well, there was a reason. There's a reason I'm damaged. I do this because of that. And when I reached about 21, 22, I had a terrible relationship with my stepmother, who was obviously part of that scenario. And I just made a decision that I could continue being indignant and angry with the world and not taking responsibility for what I was putting out in the world, or I could own it and work through it and set off on a different track. And actually, my stepmom and I now are brilliant friends. And I just decided enough. And I did some work. I got a therapist and I went through some stuff. And then you know, actually, I now own the chapter because, yeah, stuff happens. It's not always very nice, but I didn't want it to become a scapegoat forever, my
Yeah,
poor behaviour. I have to be accountable for it.
yeah, and that's
And
that.
I owned it, and I moved off in such a better mindset and more positive. I didn't finish my schooling. I dropped out of a very expensive private girls' school, probably one of the only people not to do their A levels. I went and danced in nightclubs in Pasha, like in Ibiza instead. I was definitely what one might call the black sheep. But in my 20s, I was like, right, now where do I go? And from that, I carved out a really successful career in media and sales and marketing and did all sorts of cool stuff that was really unexpected. A bit like your chapter as a showgirl, which I think the viewers that don't know about that should know, amazing stories. And also the book. So the book was written in what, 2023?
I wrote it this year.
This year, 2023. Wow.
Yeah.
Fresh, fresh, fresh. So is the book something you'd always wanted to write, or did it come to you? Was it an
No,
inspirational moment? How did the book come
there's
about?
the that's a snippet. That's a snippet of. I did it for a reason. So I wrote it because as I set this new business up, what I knew I had to do was reveal to women the depth of the work that I do, because that's what I've learned over the last couple of years. Women will buy into the projection that they put on me, and it's a struggle to work with clients like that because they're not willing to look really deep. So I wrote the book, which is a tiny snippet of my journey, and it's more recent, my journey. And I did it as the layer for women to come in if they're interested and intrigued in the way that I live, the way that I think. I'm like, there's the book. There's also the podcast. There's also YouTube. So I was like, how can I serve without losing myself this time around? How can I share my wisdom, my knowledge, and also let women know, no, this isn't a quick fix. No, this isn't a
It's going to get
reinvention.
messy
Yeah,
before it
it's
gets started.
this is going to require a certain caliber of woman to come into my life, and it's not going to be for everybody. And so I wrote the book for one. That was one reason. The other reason was that I was like, this is really alive in me right now. This is really alive. And since I wrote the book and then I was like coming back online, it felt like a bit stuck. I was like, this doesn't feel like it's me. And what I did was like, no, it's not. The book was another part, and now and it literally, I feel like the book like opened up another door. And I was just like, don't hold on to the book because that was who you were. And there's something else coming now. And
The
so
portal to a new dimension.
yeah, it's just like, oh, okay. And so it was like the book contains a methodology that can apply to anything. And yet I was trying to teach from that when I came first back online. I was like, oh, it doesn't feel right. But I was like, if you just let that go and just talk, then something else will come. And this is why I say there are no rules, there's no set path. And this is how I'm living. I've always lived very structured, very organized, like I know where I'm going. I've got no idea where I'm going. I don't know. I've got no idea. I have no idea what's going to happen. And probably for the first time in my life, I'm like, I'm pretty okay with that.
Yeah,
Um,
letting go.
yeah, letting go, surrendering to life, surrendering to the seasons. And so the book really was like a portal for me to grow. It was like, no, you can go now. And so then I started to come back online and started to talk because I was like, I'm not really sure even what I talk about anymore. And then within the last couple of months, it's like, oh no, I know what I'm talking about. And so it's it we have to tell ourselves the truth. We have to tell ourselves the truth. And we're the ultimate gaslighters of ourselves. And just before I was talking about like a couple of years ago, before we got into our sort of two-way conversation, it was like I had a great life, but I was drinking wine every evening. I was dating men I didn't respect. And my soul was telling me, you can't do this. And
Hmm.
so at a certain point in that year, I was like, okay, we need to change. Much like your moment when you was 21 and you took
Yeah.
responsibility, you was like, oh, I'm not doing this anymore. And so it's like taking that responsibility and then relinquishing those parts of me, laying them down. And so I could be more me, mature, come into this next version of me. And I didn't know what this version of me. Here's the thing with reinvention. When you reinvent, you've got something in mind. You've got something in mind. And like I said, there's a place for it. Where I am in my life, I'm like, no, there is nothing. There's just a void. And I need to be the woman that can trust and hold the capacity to sit in the unknown until the next step comes my way. And so can you see it's the reinvention
Yeah,
what
yeah.
brought me here. And so the book is part and parcel of it. But really the book is for the women to go, oh, oh no, it's not going to be easy, and oh fuck no, she's going to call me out my bullshit. So it's like, no, it's going to be hard work. And I don't what anyone says, when you really double down and raise your standards, tell yourself the truth and commit to this evolution journey, it is not easy. It will test you and bring you to, it will humble you again and again and again. And you need to have the resilience to be able to traverse this journey.
Yeah, I hear you. So I'm not all the way through yet, but I'm loving the book. That's for another day, maybe for a conversation for you and I. So I see you maybe then not as when you're reinventing, you're saying you've got a model, you've got a mold in mind of where you want to go, you've got a goal. Maybe yours is more of like a chrysalis, and we're waiting to see what comes out. Beautiful butterfly comes out because you've got no mold that you're working to.
It's like it could be a grubby moth that comes out. I don't know. Who knows?
For a while, and then it will,
Yeah,
turn
it's
into a
like
but
it's the only way I can the only way I can describe it is I can't even describe it because it's just I've been going through it this year and my mind wants to know the answers. Our ego wants to know the answers. Our ego wants a linear process. This is why there are so many people online selling quick fixes, selling you 1, 2, 3 step formulas, any advert, right? Anything, because it will ramp your dopamine up, you'll get your quick hit, and so your pain will be forgotten for an instant, but it's still there the next day. So the only way it's like my brain wants to know, and my job is to I understand, brain, so do I, but we don't know. So what can we do today? So what it's teaching me to do is to live presently. So when I moved my son out here with me, I had the idea that we were going to move to the States. That was our next destination. Like I was all ready to go. And so for a lot of this year, I had 1 foot in Turkey, 1 foot in America, and I didn't know what we were doing. The way that the background stuff's going, it's going to take much longer. So only in the last couple of weeks, I just went, do you know what? We're here in Turkey. This is where we're living. We're in. And it's like, and so again, I'll go back to you making a decision when you're 21. When you make a decision, either to go in or out, you free up all your energy. It's when you sit on the fence and you don't
exhaust.
make a decision. Yes, it's exhausting. And
Yeah,
so that
oscillating from this to that to this to that is exhausting, mentally and physically.
you got it. You got it. And so for me, it's just like, okay, so for now, I'm going to be living in Turkey. Let's reestablish my love affair with Turkey, right? Because there was a reason I loved it. So let's reestablish your love affair with Turkey, and fall in, just go all in. And the thing that keeps coming up for me, right? Because I I'm great online. I'm great. I think there'd be something around speaking, but I think I want to be a writer. And I feel like, because I really like my solitude, I really like my being on my own. And I feel like my big book of who my life story is coming. And so all the work that I'm doing, all the creation of companies, because all the companies I create, it's an idea in my head and then I form it into reality. I'm like, oh, I think what you're doing is getting yourself that brain ready to write your book, because that's going to be really hard to write your book. Because I've written a couple of books now, and it was so. I think but I also think that is here, and I need to stop saying, oh, it's going to be then. I think it's here and I need to step into that. So coming back to identity, like it's sort of, it's like, who am I becoming? Because I don't know who I'm becoming. just the most, I said to myself the other day, I want to be the most beautiful version of me inside. Like, I don't want to be an asshole. I want to be the most beautiful version of me inside. And we got 4 kittens, right? And when the kittens look at us, I said, I want to look at myself like the kitten looks at
Yeah, my
yeah.
puppy loves me so much. I want to look at myself the way Otto
There you
sees
go.
me.
That's the one.
Yeah,
So I
he
think,
just loves.
writing, I really do enjoy writing. I enjoy creating. Um, And whatever it is online, it's a hell of a lot of work. So it's like whatever you do, it's a tremendous amount of work. So it doesn't matter what you do online to keep up the online persona, to do your feed, to do everything. So my sort of wisdom around that was like, well, if you're in it, you're in it. let's like make this really amazing. And what I've learned is I can only teach what's alive in me. And what's alive in me is coming back home to your wisdom, your body, your rhythm. It's unhooking yourself from false urgency. It's slowing down. It's
Yeah,
learning to save a life. And to
the
create,
unhurried woman expression
yes,
you use.
yeah, that's it. It's a good time. I mean, the Unhurried Women is my next online event. It's coming, when is it? 29th to the 31st of August, next week.
Next weekend.
Yeah,
Well, just to share with you, because that is the weekend I will be in Virginia Beach competing in the international finals of my pageant.
fantastic.
So we'll both be very occupied that weekend doing amazing female focused activity.
Can't wait to see your photos.
So watch this space for both of us on that one. And I love the Unhurried Women. The last chat I had was with an amazing woman called Jane Stewart, who is Canadian, and she's in her 60s, and she is a survivor of childhood abuse, and she channels her reinvention through the lens of Western fashion. So when you see Jane, she's always got the big cowboy hat, and she's a full cowgirl experience. Her content is incredible. It should be on the cover of like ID magazine or something. She talks about grace and grit. She's the most fascinating woman. And we had a really long conversation about slowing down and just accepting and, so we're all coming at it from very different angles, countries, experiences, but we're all arriving at the same point, which I find.
Yeah, it's like the event that runs next weekend, it's I put the ads out, they're running today, and I was dubious because I was like, oh, I wonder how this is going to land, because this is a different topic than I've ever talked about. But underneath all my teachings, the women that shifted and changed and transformed were the ones that slowed down. The ones that didn't were the ones that thought slowing down was another thing to check off their to-do list. And so I was watching the ads today, and it's like, oh no, this is what women want.
It's
This,
resonating.
yeah, it's resonating. It's the slowing down, tuning in. I mean, what else is there? Like, if you can't trust yourself, then good luck out there in that Wild West life. You've got to be able to trust.
I spent a month preparing for my competition.
Yeah.
I got back from our holiday, went to France, and we went on a really lovely multi-generational holiday with my dad, who's 83, my kids, who are so from 11 to 83.
Yeah.
And there was quite a lot of wine, let's say. We're in France, why not? There was quite a lot of cheese. There was quite a lot of viennoiserie. I was feeling good when I got back, but I was definitely feeling like a woman and 10% extra. So I've been no caffeine, no alcohol, no sugar, no carb for a month, and I haven't gone out. Been reading more. I've been doing all sorts of gardening and crafting and weird stuff, occupying myself. I've been so pottering in my house, pottering on my own, doing really mellow, slow. So it's been really nice. So I think that sort of mellow energy is going to stay around for a while.
You just described my life. That's how I live.
That's my life now. So, and I'm loving it. I really am. People keep saying to me, "You don't really look different. What have you done?" And I'm like, "I've done nothing. I mean, literally, I've done nothing. Obviously, it's suiting me."
Yeah.
Well, look, I have to, I have to say, you've been super generous with your time. We've gone over the 30 minutes I promised you, so thank you. I love pretty much everything you've got to say. So when you do your work in your socials, I'm there watching everyone because I do truly believe that I don't think there's things you've said where I've gone, I'm not sure. I mean, generally, 99 times out of 100, I go, hallelujah when I see your content. So please continue. I love it. And I'm going to finish the book. And I hope that The Unhurried Woman is a mega success. I'm sure it will be.
Thank you so
Sure it
much.
will
I
be.
appreciate you. I appreciate you inviting me onto your show. Thank you for
Yeah.
your time and your energy.
I think women 45 and up are going to be increasingly powerful. If you look economically, they certainly are. The great wealth transfers back to the US and the UK. More and more women are going to be inheriting. I think by 2030, stats are something like American women are going to control 30 billion. It's suddenly going to swing from being the patriarchy and the dollars to being women 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s controlling the spend and discretionary spend on things that feed their soul and nourish them and experiences of whatever is predicting is going to be the way that that money is going to flow. Pageantry was something I choose to spend my dollars on because it nourishes my soul. Great sisters, sisterhood is amazing. The community, passion, the fun. Yeah, I put a lot of hard work into it too, in terms of charitable stuff. And for you, the unhurried woman, there's going to be a mega market. So hopefully the coming years are going to be nice. Thank you so much for your time. Have a lovely afternoon.